Conor, it's an absolute pleasure to have you on the Parrsitivity podcast. How you doing?
I'm all right, mate. Thanks for having me. It's been a while, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's been a while because you're one of the few guests that I've known for a long time. We went to primary school together, secondary school,
I
and
thought we were
we known each
over
other.
like over like 20 years. Oh my God, that makes me feel really old
Yeah,
saying that. We've basically
it
known each
makes
other
me
for
feel
over
old.
20 years. Flipping out.
Yeah,
Wow.
it's been a while, and it's good to see you. And there's been lots of changes, and I just thought I'd start, where you're at with things, and what transitions have happened in your life, and what kind of got you into that. What you're doing?
So currently I am a fitness coach and personal trainer. I'm working at the local Pure Gym in Beeston, Nottingham. So I I'm trying to think, how did I get into it? Well, I mean, I used to so I as you know, I was big into my martial arts when I was young. I was big into karate. Um and I began coaching it as well. So I think that's where my love of coaching kind of came from, because I was teaching all age groups from I started off, because I was fairly young when I started it off as well. I was probably only about 16, 17. So I was coaching more of the younger kids alongside one of the other instructors. And then as I gradually got older and got more experienced, I started taking adult classes. And I always preferred the adult classes because half the time they actually listen to you. Whereas nine times out of 10 in the kids' class, I'd waste half an hour just trying to get them to settle down a little bit. So, and then I always enjoyed training at the gym. I remember the first gym session I had was with our old friend Aaron, who again we've both known for a long time. And it was just in that little, I don't know if you ever went to it, that little kind of shed that was attached onto his the pub that he lives above. And I remember I enjoyed the feeling of it. I enjoyed the feeling of getting a pump, and I was looking at myself in the mirror. And back then, I wasn't big. I mean, I wouldn't consider myself big now. Um, I'm bigger, but I enjoyed. I really got into it from that, and I think at the start I saw it more of like a social thing, because it was just me and Aaron. We'd play our kind of music that we listened to. We'd have a laugh whilst we're doing it. But it was only as I got older that I started to take the gym a little bit more seriously. So when I was leaving my old job, and I was thinking where do I go from here? I don't want to go into another a dead end job that in a year or two I'm thinking, oh, I want to just leave. I wanted to make a career for myself and wanted to get into a line of work that I really enjoyed. Um, so I thought, I'll combine two aspects of my life that I really love. I love going to the gym, and I loved the coaching side of when I was doing my karate. So I thought I'll look into a personal trainer course, because it basically just combines the two, coaching and going to the gym. And I found this course, ended up doing that. Took me a little, I will admit, it took me a bit longer than I wanted to, because admittedly I was procrastinating, and that is one of my biggest faults. I'm a big procrastinator. Because I had 2 years to complete the course, it took me almost 2 years. But in that meantime, we had the height of COVID, so the pandemic played a massive part in it, because a part of the course was I had to do a lot of recordings within a gym sort of setting, and obviously all the gyms were closed, so that it did push it back quite a lot. And I had a lot of stuff going on in my personal life as well, where I really struggled with the motivation side of it, just to even get the course finished. Um, but I finally, I got my head down. I got into my new relationship, and she was my rock through it. She helped me. She pushed me to get it done. So I'm forever grateful for her to she got me to basically finish the course, passed it, and then started working in the gym, and then now that's where I am now. So yeah,
No, it's awesome, Connor. It's really great to hear that you've pushed through it and you've held yourself accountable, and you're now qualified, and you're working in the gym, and you've combined your experience, by the sounds of it, from training in karate and coaching people, your love for martial arts, your love for coaching, and
yeah,
then got into working out, and then combined it all together and found your thing that slots into place. And I think, it's those stepping stones in life, isn't it? And you don't think of it at the time, but when you look back, you think, well, that led me to this, that led me to that. And then, I decided to make that change because, you said previously you was at a job for a long period of time and you wasn't feeling it anymore, and that's okay. And you made that leap, and you had your partner to be there for you and to support you in that, and you've seen it through, and you're helping other people. And I think it's good that you found a flair that you like and you have a passion for what you're doing. Then it doesn't really feel like work. You really enjoy it.
Well, I mean, that's exactly it. I mean, like I said, with my old job, it was like year after year, I'd say to myself, I'm not going to be here by next Christmas, and I'm going to find something new that I want to do. And then you have those times in life where you get comfortable, and I think that's one thing that happened to me. I got very, very comfortable. I knew what the job was. I could do it in my sleep. The hours were worked for me. The money, it wasn't great, but it was, it was a living wage. I could live off of it, and I know the people there, so I did get through that very comfortable stage. But it got to around I was there for about 9 years, and that was the first job I ever walked into. So after college, that was the first job I walked into at 18, and I was there for nearly 10 years. And I don't know, I can't say there was like a specific moment where that light bulb switch happened, and I was like, I know what I want to do. I need to get out of here. But my mental health took quite a big knock being at that place, because I just felt like I wasn't really, I don't know how to word it. It just wasn't what I wanted to do with the rest of my life. I was thinking more so about as I was getting older, I was thinking about the future, and like I said, I didn't want to look back on my life and go, oh, I've spent my entire life in this one place that doesn't make me happy. So I had to make the decision, and I made the decision, and I spoke to my mum and dad about it, and they were very, very supportive. I even spoke to my manager at the time in that job and just said, like, look, this isn't for me anymore. And he even after that conversation, even he said to me, like, look, if your heart's not in it, then go, like, go do what you're passionate about. So I did, and when I left the job, I was still in the process of completing my PT course. So I had about 6 months where I wasn't working, whilst I was finishing this course and trying to like sort myself out and get that motivation back. Thankfully, I had a little bit of money behind me, so I wasn't struggling. And at the time, I was living at home with my mum and dad still, so I kind of had that bit of leeway to sort of help me out. But it wasn't until I got into this new relationship that I'm currently still in, and I was talking to her about it, and she was beyond supportive and was telling me, like, come on, I know you can do it. Like, I know you know what you're talking about. And she sat down with me during a few parts of that course and got me to finish it. And when I told her that I'd passed, she cried with happiness and gave me a big hug. And then I said, like, oh, I've got an interview at a gym, and then I got that job, and then yeah, now it's one of those things that I just think, oh, why didn't I do it sooner? Like, why didn't I finish the course a lot sooner, and then I could even be even better than I am now. But it was just, it was one of those things that happens in life. You hit, points in life where it's not always a straight line when it comes to achieving what you want to achieve. It's very, very up and down, and that's one thing that I try and get across to my clients as well. Is it's never going to be you've got the starting point and the finishing point, and you're just going to go straight line. Everything's going to be easy. You're going to have so many ups and downs, but it's as long as you're still on that right path, then that's all that matters, really. So yeah, I'm much, much happier now doing what I actually want to do, doing what I'm passionate about, and seeing the look on a client's face when they hit a new personal best or they achieve something that they thought they'd never be able to do, no matter how big or small it is. If it means something to them, then it's a big thing. So I love being able to help them, achieve that. So, and it's nice. It's a nice feeling that I had a part to play in it as well.
No, I love that, Connor, and I think it's that process, isn't it? And I think you can kind of relate to your clients as well, because you have to sometimes go through certain things to understand what it's like. You know,
Yeah, of
um,
course.
do, doing something that you probably don't enjoy, that time aspect of how long things take. The struggles in sticking to a course, turning up,
Yeah.
showing up to work, and telling yourself, I deserve this, and believing in yourself, and in having those important people behind you to support you, that helps as well. And it's good, you had a partner to do that in that
Yeah,
time, and your family. And I think also, it's we like you said, we sometimes expect life to start here and just have a forward trajectory to where we want to go, and it doesn't always work like that. And I think we live in a society that's instant gratification. You can click a button and get what you want, and
exactly. Yeah,
it's worthwhile, I think, having that delayed gratification and seeing the effort you put in to then achieve the end result.
yeah.
And that is a result of the process and that consistency and applying yourself. And you're helping your clients to do that in working out. And I think it's those small wins, isn't it? You're working with your clients and you're seeing them achieve these points. And I think you can, use all your experience to explain to them, things take time because you've been there, not just working out, but like, in general life. And I think that's really credible to what you're doing and your clients. What
I mean, yeah, you said it then. I mean, like something that, and I think the thing that I love about it is that every client's different, and they've all got different goals that they want to achieve, and they've all got different fitness journeys and what they want to do. I might have a client that wants to lose weight. I might have a client that wants to gain weight. So the way that I have to train them and how the way that I have to help them is completely different. So it's forever keeping me on my toes. And it could be something as simple as, I've got a client that wants to be able to do one press up off the floor. And whereas for some people they might think, oh well, that's dead easy. Like I can do 50. For them, it's a really big thing. And like I said, just to see the look on their face and see how happy they are once they've achieved that, because you don't know how, as small as it might seem to you and me, for them, it might be one of the hardest things they've ever had to achieve. So I will never, um, I will never belittle someone's dreams, regardless of what it is. I mean, I wouldn't do that in general, but especially within the gym, because like I said, something, and it could mean the absolute world to them. Um, and one thing that I have to always remind my clients, because going into a gym itself is quite an intimidating thing. Especially if it's a big gym, because I work in a fairly big gym. I always say to a lot of people, I think the hardest part is just getting there, because so many people talk themselves out of it. They'll be sat at home and they'll go, right, I want to go to the gym today, and then they go, even something that's like, oh, it's raining outside. Oh, I'm going to leave it today. But then next thing you know, that today turns into I'm going to leave it tomorrow. I'm going to leave it this week. I'm going to leave it this month. Then next thing you know, 6 months to a year have gone down the line, and they've still not even started. So that's why I think getting like a personal trainer really helps, because you've got someone that's going to hold you accountable. You've got someone there that's going to help you with that discipline, the motivation side, and most importantly, just building up your confidence in the gym to the point where you can then go by yourself without having a personal trainer there with you, and you can walk in and go, okay, I know exactly what I'm going to do today. I'm going to do A, B, and C, and then you can just crack on with it. And everyone's like that. I was, even when I first started, I mentioned that I went with one friend. I was still nervous to go because it was something that I'd never done before. And a big misconception about the gym is a lot of people think that if you go in there, everyone's going to be staring at you and sort of be pointing at you, going, oh, look at them. They don't know what they're doing. They're clearly a beginner. But one thing that people need to remember is that everybody at some point had their first day in the gym. Even these really, these people who are crazy into fitness, or, have got massive muscles and built like a bodybuilder, they still had to have their first day in the gym. So it's not, that's one thing that I try and get across to people, when I try and help them build that confidence, um, which then, it helps them physically and mentally as well. Then they can then try and take that into other aspects of life. So a lot of what happens in the gym will affect you outside of the gym and vice versa, which I think is a really important thing for a lot of people as well.
Yeah, no, that's a tremendous point. And I think, like, what you touched on was everyone has to go through those motions. You know, when people are really built up, they've had to feel vulnerable. They've had to start somewhere. They've had to
Yeah,
go through what, you know, your clients are going through and what we all have to go through if you go to the gym for the first time, first few weeks or days. It is intimidating, you know, and I think you have to remember not to compare yourself to other people. I think people can look at other people and think, well, you know, they're doing well, and oh, look at me or whatever. And it's like you have to not do that. And
yeah,
you know, we've all got to start somewhere, as you said, and with practice and consistency, as you know, people will get better, and that little 1% every day or every week will have significant changes on the person. And like you said, it
yeah,
transpires to people's personal lives, you know, and how they feel in themselves. And you know, if you're consistent, disciplined, and working out, and you know, you're gonna feel uncomfortable. You can't avoid that. Like there are moments, you know, when you work
exactly. Yeah,
out, you're gonna
exactly.
push through that, and that transpires to life and difficult situations. And I think from personal experience, the if you get a bit more, you know, resilience in that area, you can deal with other things, you know, in life a bit easier. I think, like, you know, you almost get like calisters, do you know what I mean, to cope with
Yeah.
certain pressures. And what are some of the challenges do you think that people face? Do you think like this time of year, because it gets darker early, do you think that's a challenge for people in the
It.
weather?
I mean, like I said, there are so many, and a lot of people do forget this. There are so many outside factors that affect inside the gym. It could be something as simple as you didn't have a great night's sleep, so you wake up and you feel really tired and you think, oh, I'm not going to go to the gym today. Or you wake up and you might feel a bit sluggish, or everyone has those days, myself included. And or yeah, it could be something like, oh, it's raining outside. Oh, I'll go tomorrow. Oh, it's raining again. I'll go tomorrow. And then I think once one of the big things that I try and do for clients is I try and make it fun and I try and make it enjoyable as well. I don't want them to come in session by session and walk out going, I absolutely hated that, and dread then coming in for the next session. Like if you enjoy something, you want to put more effort into doing it because you know you can walk away from it thinking, oh, I absolutely smashed that, or oh, I did a new personal best today, and that kind of thing. So a lot of the challenges people face are just things that happen in everyday life, and it's okay to have those challenges, but that's exactly what they are. They are challenges, and you want to try and overcome them. So if it is a day where you're looking outside and you're going, it's raining, pack a bag and take a spare pair of clothes. When you get to the gym, change into your dry clothes, and then you can still train. If you're feeling a little bit sluggish or a little bit tired, get some food in you, get some caffeine in you, and then go to the gym. And even if you just go and you just sort of go through the movements, you don't necessarily push yourself to your absolute max, you've still done something. And every little bit is going to help you. And I also say that, and I got this quote off of one of the world's best bodybuilders, Jay Cutler. And he said, and he said it, and it really stuck with me. He says, not every workout is going to be a rock star workout. So, as in, like, not every workout is going to be your absolute best. Not every workout you're going to push yourself to the absolute max, and that's okay. Like, not every workout, you don't need to be beating a personal best in every single session that you go to. I used to think like that, and I used to think if I'm not improving every single session, then I'm heading in the wrong direction, and I'm failing effectively. But I've had some clients where one week they'll be able to do something, and then the following week they're struggling to do that. And I always say that's all right, as long as you're not constantly going backwards. You've got to be going somewhere, and you are improving. So it's the biggest the challenges are just pushing yourself to do it. It is as simple as that. I'm not saying it's simple to go to the gym, but I mean in terms of just trying to overcome those challenges, you have to just throw yourself at it, and you have to push yourself to the absolute max to overcome those challenges, and then it will then be when more challenges arise, they'll be easier to overcome. because you know you've already done it and you know you can do it. So I'd probably say, yeah, there's so many challenges. But like I said, myself included, I'm a personal trainer and I work in a gym. I will have some days where I'll wake up and I'll go, I really don't feel like training today. But you have to. But once I'm there and I've done it, I go, whew, I'm glad that I did. So it's there are so many challenges, so many challenges that come with it. But as long as you're pushing yourself, that's all that matters.
Yeah, definitely. And I think, like you said, there's some days where, we might not feel the same, might not feel up to it, but once you've done it, then that shifts I think that energy. I think it shifts that,
Yeah,
that sluggishness. Once you've done it, you've shown up and you've put a bit of time in. And like you said, we don't have to do crazy, like personal bests all the time. Or like you said, sometimes people might think, well, I've got to hit this, got to do that, got to thingy. And like you said, it's just showing up and just doing it, even if you didn't do as much as you did last time, or excuse me, or the day before.
yeah,
You're still putting, your punch card in. And I think if you're always slamming it, then you're probably more prone to injury if you're pushing yourself too hard. There's got to be, I think, a fine balance. You
of
might
course,
push
yeah,
yourself hard one day, and then the next day you might go, okay, well, I might lift less, but do more reps. I don't know, or do cardio. Whatever
yeah,
swings around. And I think, if you then injure yourself, then you're out the game for 2 weeks or however long, depending on what it is. And like you said, there's a fine balance, and it's just showing up and doing it. And I think, like there's going to be days where you feel sluggish, and once you've done it, you're okay. And I think,
yeah,
like you
yeah,
said, sleep is a big factor because I noticed I said to you today, I had my first lie-in today for a while, and
yeah,
I went to the gym earlier, and I felt like shit because I had more sleep,
yeah,
and
exactly, yeah.
it's put me off having a little bit of a lay-in because I just, you know what I mean? I felt the difference, from
Your
just
body's
sleeping a
just
bit
not,
more.
yeah, your body's just not used to it. Yeah,
So it's interesting. It's a balance, and I think it's great what you're doing and helping people and seeing those changes. And what's it like when you see those changes in clients and you see them, feeling better?
it's 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 very rewarding because again, like I was saying before, you don't know until you see it. You don't know what it truly means to them. Like I've had a client with me before where they've done something and they've literally just burst into tears because for them it meant so much. And like I said, other people might look at it and go, "Oh, is that it?" But it's that mental victory and it's that physical victory where you don't know what they've been struggling with, you don't know what they've been trying to do, and this could be something that they've been trying to achieve for years. And I think a lot of it is just having, like I said, that mental victory. Like I had a client that um, did a certain exercise, injured herself, and then had like a lot of time off in the gym. And then she came to me and said, she was very open and very honest, and she says, "This is what happened, but I'd really love to try and push myself to be able to do that again." And so I worked with her. I did a plan for her. We did, we've had many sessions together, and we managed to get her to the point where she achieved that. And even so, now there are still some times where she's a little bit hesitant, and the confidence might dip a little bit. But again, that's a very, very common thing. You're not going to wake up every morning and going, "I'm going to absolutely smash it today. Today's going to be the best day ever." Um, and just seeing, when she did it for the first time, and she just, I could see she got not upset in a sad way, but she started getting emotional in the sense of like, I finally pushed myself to do it. I've overcome that fear because I injured myself, and I've achieved what I wanted to achieve. And it was a very, very good feeling, a very rewarding feeling. And even though I always say to them like, "Come on, I'm just here to push you a little bit," but at the end of the day, it's still down to you. You do get that feeling of I helped her achieve this, regardless of how big or how small it is. I had a little bit in because I always say I have a little bit of involvement to help them. I know I'd teach her how to do certain techniques and certain exercises, but at the end of the day, if they're not willing to put in the effort and they're not willing to push themselves, then I'm kind of void, really. I'm kind of pointless. So I could do all this work with them, and then if they go, "Oh, nah, don't want to do it," I'm kind of there scratching my head, going, well, why am I here? Like what I was, I was there to push them. I was there to give her that motivation, and she did it, and she absolutely smashed it. And yeah, it was the same when I was doing the karate, and I was doing, I was helping people like get their next belt or their next level up, and then come and then thank me. Like you get that like warm feeling, like, oh, that I didn't really do that much, but thanks. Like, and I don't know, I've always had that feeling. Like I've always had that. It sounds bad, but I've never had a huge amount of self belief in myself. So I've kind of, it's something that I've struggled with over the years. So now, even if someone comes up to me and say, "Oh, thank you so much for helping me," I'm kind of like, I didn't really do anything. Like this was all you. Like I was just there to maybe push you a bit. Um, so even then, for me, I struggle. There are some things that I struggle with, but yeah, it is a very rewarding feeling. It's a very good feeling, and then we move on to the next one. We move on to the next goal or the next, whatever they want to achieve. And then I help them with that. So it's great. And like I said, each person has has a new goal. I've recently just signed a person up this week actually, and her goal is completely different to any of the others that I've done. So it's like I have to try and, like I said before, train her in a new way, in a different way, to help her achieve that goal. And regardless of how big or how little that goal is for her, if it's a big thing, then it's a big thing for me. So yeah, I love being able to help them achieve whatever it is.
No, I love that, and I appreciate you sharing that. And I think, like you said, clients all in different places, and you had a client you said who was injured, and you helped them get back on track. And you said about it works 50/50, doesn't it? And I kind of see that in the job that I do with clients. You're there kind of holding the space, and you're kind of guiding them, you're kind of keeping them, trying to keep them accountable.
Yeah.
And I think we all need that to an extent sometimes, like if I don't post content, my ex-military mates who've got a podcast, they'll be like, they're American, they'll be like, hey, I haven't seen you post anything for a while. You need to put something out there, or I'll see them post something. And I'm like, okay, I need to do something. And we all need that accountability to a degree. And I think, like you said, people are giving you, um, positive responses to the work that you're doing, and you saying, you had things with self-confidence and things. And I think, a lot of people do go through that, and I went through that as well. And I think it's learning to receive stuff and accept stuff, and then you give that back. And I think you you are kind of having this support with them, your clients. You are okay, they did physical stuff, and they had to apply themselves to work out and everything and show up. But also, you had to show up as well. And they're looking at you for guidance and reassurance. And it's a lot. It's a lot to, to be in a position of, but you're holding it together, and you're there for that person. So to a degree, you know, do you mean you're part of that process? You're part of those cogs that are working. Do you know what I mean? Like in a watch, you're one cog clicking together, and they're the other. And it's like, if you wasn't that cog there clicking with them, then do you know what I mean? Might not be able to apply themselves as much. So I
Of
think,
course, yeah.
it's all a process, and I think people have got to start somewhere, like you said. And I think back to when I started working out as a teenager. I remember, I had anxiety and PTSD and shit from like an accident, which about like years ago when I was a stupid teenager.
Yeah.
And I remember
Well, we
like I remember getting on a treadmill, and I remember like feeling really heavy and not being able to run. Struggling to run on a treadmill. And I think, the more you do it, the easier it gets. And I mean, I think um, exercise is tremendous for mental health. You know,
huge,
have
huge.
you seen that in clients who might, I don't know, have anxiety or something, and then they do it, and they, changes them.
Yeah, definitely. To be honest, it's helped me a lot with my mental health. Like I said, when I was leaving that other job, I was in a really sort of quite a dark time in my life. Really, like I said, I had stuff going on through family. Like I had family members passing away, and I'd just come out of a relationship which was quite not the nicest of endings. Um, and just myself in general, I didn't really have any sort of, I didn't really have any faith in myself. I didn't really have any confidence in myself. And like I said, that's still something now that I'm struggling, not necessarily struggling with, but it's something that I know I could be better at. Like, I don't have a lot of self confidence. I do often like second guess myself, and there's even been times as a personal trainer where I've been like, am I actually doing a good thing? Like, and it's those moments where I help a client achieve the goal. It's that gratification and it's that reassurance where it's like, okay, maybe I am doing something. Maybe I am doing something right. So, even me being a PT has helped me tremendously with my mental health. And I'd say at the moment my mental health is pretty good. I have random days where I feel a bit down in the dumps, and I've had random moments of anxiety, as I'm sure a lot of people have, and it's okay to have those days. I think a lot of people they almost get upset with themselves if they have like a bit of a panic or if they have a bit of a down day and they're like, oh, I shouldn't be feeling this way. It's like, you might feel that, but you are. And it's like, and wishing that it wasn't there won't necessarily make it easier to get through. You've just got to take your time and do what is right for you in order to get past it and to keep moving forward. Because that's all it is at the end of the day. It's about moving forward. Um, but yeah, like the mental health side of you know being physical and doing physical exercise, it's crazy how much it's linked together. And again, I think that's a big thing that people don't realize. Because if you're sat, if you're suffering with, let's say, depression or something, if you're just sat by yourself all day every day and you're very much within that depression, you know it's very difficult to find a way out. But if you just then get up and go for a walk, even if it's literally just around the block or something, or 5 or 10 minutes down the road, you do start to feel a little bit, not necessarily better, but you start to feel a bit different. And then you might think to yourself, oh, okay, well, I felt somewhat okay going on a walk. Maybe tomorrow I'll go for an even longer one. I'll go even longer. You get to a point where you go, I might join a gym. You go for one session. Whether if it's a good session or a bad session, you've gone, you've pushed yourself to go, and it gets you out of that funk, and it gets you out of that sort of slump and that being within yourself, because you've got something to concentrate on and you've got something to push yourself. Like I always say, I had a client not too long ago who was again going through some personal stuff, and they seemed a bit down in the dumps. And I said to them, I was like, right, I said, you're here now. I said, we're not going to waste this session. I said, okay, I said, we're going to get our heads down, we're going to crack on, and we're going to smash this session out. I don't want you to put effort in. And he was like, all right, I'll try. I said, no. He says, you're not going to try, you're going to do it. I said, I'm here to tell you, you're going to do it. And, I'll always listen to people, I'll always try and help them out with their problems. But a big thing for me is when we're at the gym, we're there to train. And I said to him, I guarantee by the end of it, I can get a smile on your face. And I did. And halfway through, I'm trying to have a laugh with him. I'm trying to push him. I'm saying, come on, you've got this. And it's when your mental health's bad, it hits you physically so much. And there's so many times where, there's even been times where I've been at the gym, I've been pushing myself. And if I'm not with it mentally, I'll go, oh, I'm going to stop there. When I know I could have pushed myself even further. Um, so anybody that is suffering with any kind of mental health, regardless of what it is, try and do something active. Try and do something physical, and gradually, as you go, you will find that it gets easier and easier and easier. Like there's been so many studies on how physical health helps mental health and vice versa. So anybody that's suffering, I would say just get up, get out of the house. Even if you just go for a little walk, do something, and it will help you. It's helped me. It's helped many people all over the world. I'm sure it's helped you at some point as well. So just get out and do it. That's all I can really say. I know it's easier said than done for some people, but you've just got to try.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I love that. And I think it's so true. Like you said, it's just getting out there and doing it, and those small changes, in those shifts, like you said, if you're depressed or you don't feel right, it's almost like being in a well. But,
Hmm.
having someone there shining a light like yourself who's saying, you can do this, I'm here to support you, motivates that person to make that change, to make that shift, to because if you feel like crap and then you do something, afterwards you get a good feeling and you want to cling to that good feeling more and you want to hit that good feeling again. And I think that's like a big motivator as well, as well as having someone behind you like yourself, supporting you and guiding you and, trusting you and people being able to open up and share stuff. Do you know what I mean as well? And it's that social aspect as well, isn't it? In a gym, you're
Course,
meeting
yeah.
people and you feel like you belong to something, and people are listening and they care. And some people might not have had that previously. They might not have had someone listen to them or guide them. So there's all these things that So it's you're helping them out physically, but there's a lot of you know, stuff mentally that you're doing as well. So works hand in hand. And like you said, it's even if going for a walk, and then maybe next time go for a little bit, no, an extra 5 minutes, or like you said, the person who is wanting to do one press up, the first press up. We've all had to start doing that first press up,
Yeah,
and it's it is working out is difficult and things are hard, but like you said, the more you do it, the easier it gets. And
yeah,
you might feel uncomfortable, but you kind of you're able to gauge it and be comfortable with that, aren't you, at some points? And then
yeah.
you grow. And also, I was just wondering as well, like, do you have any like role models?
I'd
Whether
say,
that's personally or like, like on TV or
hmm, in
growing
terms
up or now.
in terms of like, I mean, my dad's always been a role model of mine
Mm,
because I know how hard he's worked in
mm.
his life to give me, my mum, and my brother a good life. So my dad will always be one of my role models. I'd say in terms of when I started my martial arts, watching like old Jackie Chan films, he was like well, I mean, he still is to this day, like one of my absolute heroes. And if I ever met him in real life, I think I'd just faint. But watching his old stuff is one of the things that got me into wanting to start martial arts. So he's a huge role model of mine. Who else would there be? Who else is there? To be honest, this is going to sound really like a bit soppy and everything, but it's the people around me, like my friends and my family, just because they help me be a better me. I mean, especially my girlfriend. I've never been with anyone like her, and I owe her so much. Um, and she inspires me, and she pushes me to be a better person. So she's a massive role model of mine as well. Um, I'd never tell her that, but she yeah she
She
no
knows now.
well, yeah, she does now. She'll probably watch this. So but
Yeah.
no, she means the absolute world to me. And yeah, it's just the people around me, friends and family, and seeing, like if they ask me like, oh, how's the PT going? And I'm like, oh yeah, I've got a few more clients under my belt. I'm doing this, I'm doing that, and just seeing like them saying, oh, that's fantastic, mate. Oh, I'm really, really happy for you, and all this, that, and the other. So it's just little things like that, just little people around me, that sort of push me to want to keep going and just get better and better over time. So
No, I love that. And I think, it can be anybody with role models and mentors. And I think, it is often the case, the people around us and our friends and our family who are our role models and mentors, and they
yeah,
help us and we can learn from their experiences and the things like they're doing, like your father. And, that's what it's about, isn't it? It's taking, guidance from their lessons and what they've done and applying it to, what we do. No, I love
yeah,
that. And I appreciate you
exactly.
sharing that. And I think also, like, do you have any favorite films?
Oh, now you're talking. One, you've probably never heard of it. You might have heard me mention it like a long, long time ago. Um, But one of my favorite films, and I remember it was one of the first films I ever watched where I was just like jaw to the floor in love with it. And again, it was a very, very big reason of why I got into martial arts. It was this film that was made in the Philippines, and it was called Ninja Kids Phantom Force, right? And it's just this story about these seven lads who get taken into this sort of not I'd say magical world. That's the wrong way to put it. They just meet this guy and they realize that they're the seven chosen ones, and basically they just become ninjas. And I don't know what it was. My cousin had the old like video of it, and every time I went round, I'd always say, "Can we watch Ninja Kids? Can we watch Ninja Kids?" And I remember, I think I must have been about 8 or 9, and he gave it to me, like gave me the video, and every single day for years, I would watch that video again and again and again, to the point where even now, I could watch it. I know every word, I know every fight scene. And I remember I'd stand in the front room of my mum and dad's house when I was younger, and as while I was watching it, I was reenacting the fight scenes. And that's one of the biggest things that again got me into wanting to do martial arts, because martial arts is a huge thing in my life, and that's helped me a lot physically and mentally as well. Um, what other films do I like? Completely different film. Fury is one of my top
Oh, it's class.
five
Yeah, I've
films.
got that. Yeah.
When they're in the tank, absolutely love that film. Lord of the Rings, the trilogy, will forever be up there for me. I'd probably say they're my top films. They're the ones that I feel like any time of the day I could sit down and rewatch it and just have a good time and enjoy it.
I love that.
Yeah,
When you said Lord of the Rings, I had a flashback. I remember when I used to go to Aaron, I used to go with him to his granddad's. I don't know if he can remember, but we used to play Lord of the Rings. I don't know if you, I don't, you might have come as well. We used to play
I may have
football.
done,
We used to
probably.
play football and play Lord of the Rings like in his back garden with like sticks.
Yeah,
Um,
pretending. Yeah.
yeah, no,
Times,
good
good times.
times. And there's some good films as well. And there's some, and you not just films, you've taken things from them and you've been inspired through martial arts through those films as well. And no, they're really good. I actually got into, some of the old black and white samurai films.
Yeah.
The old ones,
The old style ones,
they're
yeah.
pretty cool. It's all
Mm.
subtitled though, so you have to literally like watch and see and everything that.
Yeah, well, I think that's the good thing about that Ninja Kids film is it's just dubbed. So there's just an English voice actors over those, but it's even at the point where I've got it on video, not where I'm living now, back at my mum and dad's, but my mum gave me or got it transferred onto a DVD for
Oh
me
man,
like
that's good.
years ago, and then now, even still to this day, I've got it on my liked videos on YouTube. And I'm not lying to you whatsoever. I watched it probably about a week ago. Just
Oh, banging.
still to this day. It's like my comfort film. If I'm feeling a bit down in the dumps or whatever, I'll just whack that on and it'll put a smile on my face, because it's just like the music, the fight scenes, the comedy aspect of it. Like it's just, yeah, it'll be forever in my, I'll be 50, 60, 70 and probably still want to watch it. Talking about it now makes me want to watch it. I'll probably
And
watch
when
it
you
after.
have and when you have kids, you can show it them as well. Do you know what I mean? And then they
Oh,
can,
100%.
yeah,
100%. Even
yeah,
when they're still a baby, when they're a newborn, I'll be putting that on and they'll be asking me, like,
yeah,
when they're older, like, oh, can we watch Ninja Kids? I'm like,
yeah,
yes, we can. Yes, we
yeah.
can.
And last question as well, like what people do you have around a table, like alive or dead? If you could say sit around with anyone, like take a couple of
How
people,
many do I get to
like
choose?
two or three.
2 or 3. I would say, I have to say Jackie Chan, just because, like I said, the amount of questions that I would ask him about martial arts and just his life in general, how he was brought up. Like I've read like a few of his books and everything, and I just think he's just, yeah, but I probably wouldn't be able to get through any food because I'd just be staring at him in awe the whole time. Who else would I be? Who else would I have? I would say I'd have Gary Oldman, one of my favorite actors. Absolute amazing British actor. again, I just love all the work that he's been in. Again, I've seen quite a few interviews of him, and just I know he does quite a lot outside of the acting world, so he would definitely be there. For my last one, hmm, might have to go Eminem. You know,
That's a good shout. Yeah,
might have to go Eminem just because I was brought up on his earlier stuff and his rap music, and that's what got me into rap music. So yeah, Eminem, Jackie Chan, and Gary Oldman. That would be one hell of a dinner party, but it'd be
yeah,
interesting. It'd be interesting.
definitely interesting dinner party. It'd be good.
Yeah,
And no, Connor, it's been absolute blast talking to you. It's really good to reconnect with you after so long. And
definitely, man.
I think it's awesome the work you're doing and helping other people. And I'm really happy you found something that you're passionate about and you're excelling in it and you're helping other people excel in that world of working out. And where can people find how can they book a session with you? How can they find you on social media, that kind of thing?
So on Instagram, I'm just CLL Fitness. You can drop me a message on there, and I can book you through that. Or I currently do have a website, which is I am going to get the name changed to CLL Fitness, but currently it's linked on my Instagram. It's just Conor.loughrey, which is my last name, LOUGHREY, .co.uk. Click on that, and there is an option to book through that as well. Um, I think that's pretty much it. To be honest, I mainly do the Instagram and the website is what I get my bookings from. But especially on the website, it's got all of my details, my email, my Instagram, my WhatsApp, like my number as well, and all that sort of type of stuff. So yeah,
No, that's awesome, man. And I wish you continue success in what you're doing. And
appreciate
also,
it.
I've got a lot of, you're welcome. And I've got people that I know in the States. I mean, I don't know if you do Zoom work. I don't know if people do Zoom workouts, but if anyone internationally wants to hit you up in
Of
America
course,
or
yeah,
anywhere that I know, they can get in touch and you could always do that.
definitely, one
So,
hundred percent. I do. Yeah, I
uh,
do. I do. I can do online coaching as well as in
yeah,
person. Obviously, if they are abroad, then yes, online
yeah,
coaching. But yeah, that's something that I'd be more than happy to help with if they need
cool.
anything.
No, awesome. And I'll definitely share what you're doing and I'll put it all in the description and we'll go from there. But I hope you have a
Great.
good
Thanks
day,
for having
Connor.
me, mate. Yeah, appreciate you having me on.
No,
Like I
you're
said,
welcome, man.
been nice to just catch up with you. To be honest, it's the first time I've
Yeah,
seen you for a long time, so
it's been a while.
it
And I'll
has. It
see you
has.
again soon at some point.
Definitely, mate. Definitely. Yeah, appreciate it.
All right. Take care, everyone. Cheers, Connor.
Take care, mate.